Okay, welcome back to the Caribou Day Science channel. This is kind of an impromptu. Well, this isn't exactly impromptu, but what we're doing here is we're going to look at the CO2 data from Our World in Data. You can find that if you go to GitHub and search for OWID. You'll see a separate link for their R data. It contains roughly 50 some different types of CO2 emissions data from 55 different sources for emission data. I'll mention each row, as you'll see, there's one row for each country. But the country column, in addition to countries, this is important, also includes continents, income groups, and a total for the world. So you have to be aware of that when you start pulling out data, okay? So anyway, let's go over here, let's do an import. Do an upload. CO2 data. First of all, let's pull in our code book. The code book describes all the columns of data. Create a new spreadsheet, insert a new sheet. Okay. Let's do a format. Let's do a format as table. There we go. And so this gives you a geographic location, country, like I said, country, continent, income group, and world. This is the year, 4-digit year. Then you got these miscellaneous columns here: population, gross national product, and now you can see you got a row for, and most of the ones have the basic thing, CO2, and the per capita. Now CO2 itself has more than one thing. You can see these whole things are the C until UC, and it explains it, okay, including land use, okay. CO2 per capita, for instance, okay, and CO2 per unit of energy, coal COU. So we may look at the coal COU for a brief moment. We'll see what happens. But what we're interested in now is importing the actual data itself. .5 megabytes, 12.5 megabytes it looks like. Well, it doesn't actually contain that many rows. It only contains maybe 50,000 rows, which is actually a fair amount for my experience running on Google Sheets. Introduce new spreadsheet, insert new sheet, import data. And we're interested in two sets. We're interested in the world and we're interested in the U.S. because what we want to do, we want to compare the U.S. to the world. We want to know, how much does the U.S. contribute to the worldwide CO2 emissions? Okay, both in percentage, and we also want to know, what's the numbers look like with and without the U.S. in them. Okay. You can see this is taking a moment to import. Of course, as always, don't be bashful out there. Stop by chat and say hi. Click the subscribe button for me, the like button, and the bell icon to be notified whenever I go live. And what is tonight? Is this Wednesday? Thursday. So maybe, I don't know, on Sunday night maybe we'll come back and we'll do the second round, project 2 of our, okay, so here we are. All right. Let's format this as a table. All right. And you can see it starts at 1850, but we're not interested in 1850. We're only interested in Okay, we're only interested in U.S. and the world data. We're only interested in data from the 20th century on, from 1900 and beyond. Okay, so I already did the homework over here. Here you can see is our formula. Okay, now let's take a look here. So we're actually looking from A2 onward. Okay. And it says, now this is kind of, they're using a regex match, okay, which it makes sense, because this is sort of like an E grip in the, in R. Okay, let's change this. And here we are. Now what's interesting is, let's just take a look at something real quick. Format does not support supported in table header row, in a table header row. Because I think it's because we got a formula up here, maybe we can't do it. So anyway, we got our numbers here. Interesting. Okay, so this should be B2 to B. Oh, this is interesting. This says, no, this isn't right. We don't want this. We want the U.S. and the world. What's interesting is why is this up here for? I don't understand that. Now, how come this says 1800, 1939? It goes 1800. Why is this up here? I don't understand that. Is it possible to delete that one row? Delete row. Good. Okay. Let's just check and make sure we do in fact have. Okay, good. So why is this here? See, I don't understand why that's there. That makes no sense. So that makes no sense, okay? Because this, okay, so what it was doing is, ah, yes, you got the little thing. Now, of course, this is backwards, okay? Because if you sometimes at least in Excel, if you do an or, it's a plus sign. Why don't you use a standard, and sign and a bar for the or? or actually type the word bar. Okay. To change the format, use and condition. So why can't you use this up here? Well, let's try this, see what happens. Oh, hey DB, how you doing this evening? I'm doing a little, I'm going to use Google Sheets to do some analysis of the CO2 emissions data from Our World in Data. I'm trying to get a function to run here. Okay, this needs to be A2. Okay, let's go back and use the original formula. We'll just exclude it from the it's kind of funky because what I'm trying to do is only pull out the data for the U.S. and for the world using a function. So what we'll do is we'll cheat. What it's doing is, let's see, let's try some here. So what it's doing, I'm trying to pull out the data for both the world and the United States, but it keeps including, because this is an function, well, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Because it should be anything greater than 1939, either the world or the United States, or anything greater. This is an function, okay? I'm going to leave it that way for the time being, but it doesn't make any sense because this is neither the world or the United States, okay, or greater than 1939. Okay, but anyway, so what's going on in New York today? I'll be right back. I'll give me something to drink. So anyway, like I said, the data comes from Our World in Data. If you go to GitHub, search for OWID, you can find their repository. You scroll down, you can see CO2 data. Here's the raw data. Okay. There's like, I don't know what it is, there's like, yeah, there's like 75 different metrics you track in terms of CO2 emissions, okay? And so what you got country. The country column includes country, it includes continents, it includes income groups, and it includes world data. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to compare the world, the U.S. to the world, and try to determine, how much the U.S. is contributing to various forms of CO2 emissions. Okay, so I came over here then, and I used this function, which is provided by ChatGPT, as you saw, to plot all the data. But you can see there's also Argentina, this doesn't make any sense because it doesn't match any one of these categories here. It's not the world of the United States. It's not, and it's not greater than 1939. Okay, so anyway, the other thing that's interesting is you can't actually create a table. Okay, formula does not support. Is not supported in row heading. So I think the trouble is you can't convert this into a table because of the form. But we could do this. We could do this. Control A, Control C. Okay, so now we got it. Now it's a static table. So now we should be able to get rid of this. There we go. Now we should be able to convert this into a table. Let's see. Yep, now it's a table, okay? And the reason was because there was a formula in the first row. All right? So, where should we start? And most of the numbers like this, I believe, are million tons. So, and you see here growth, CO2 growth percentage, ABS. LUC means, I believe, it includes land use. Some of the things don't include land use, like the basic CO2 thing over here. Okay, doesn't include land use, I don't think. Let's see somewhere then. Back up here, CO2, measured in million tons. Like the basic CO2 function, excluding land use, measured in million tons. Growth rate ABS, let's see, annual growth in total emissions of carbon dioxide, excluding land use. So you got things with land use and things. But the LUC means including land use. All right? So where should we start? Which one should we start with? Well, let's just start with the basic CO2, okay? Let's start with something simple. Over here, insert pivot table, new sheet. That's interesting. I wonder where that comes from. Huh. No idea where that comes from. Sum of the growth of ABS for every country by country. No. Clear all. Suggestions. We don't want suggestions. So the row is going to be year. Columns is going to be country. We don't want the totals. And the first thing we're going to measure is CO2. Okay? Then we will calculate the percent that the U.S. is contributing, right? All right. and the difference. What this allows us to do is to plot both of them on the same plot. Okay. If you do our program, it's kind of like doing a facet wrap it's kind of like you doing a fill or a collar on a ggplot. Okay. Difference. What do we want to see? You want to know. Right. So what this should be. What this should be, so this should be the world minus the US, okay? The world minus the US. Okay? So I come over here, we do an insert, chart. And this is kind of nice. So it's starting out by giving us the, which isn't actually what we wanted. Let's come back over here. Let's do year. Let's just see what this looks like. So I came in here and I push aggregate, right? And now it gives us the total. So you got the United States down here and the world total up here. But that's not quite what we're looking for, is it? I mean, we could of course do just the US. Let's change this to a nice plot like that, right? We want that there. Now, if we look at this, the sum doesn't make any sense because there's only one row per year. All right. Is there some way we could come over here like this? And this is a million tons. Okay. This is million tons. Customization over here. So what are you up to today, DB? I'll use the British. I think there's also a British under. Tons. All right. So go over here now. Start by putting something over here. Back over to our pivot table. Let's see. So now let's look at the of the U.S. contribution as a percent. And you see, here's the thing about Excel and now the first question, why is this only going like decades or something like that, and this is going by year? I don't quite understand that. There's two metrics for the U.S. Now let's look at the world. So you can see okay. All right. Let's try something. There. How's that? So you can see worldwide the CO2 production is continuing to climb, right? All right. Now, whether that's U.S. tons or metric tons, I'm not really sure, but that's okay. So let's look at something. One more thing over here for this. Pivot. Let's do. Let's minimize that one. Now let's look at the no, let's change this one here. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Let's make this the US plus different, because what this is going to show us is this is going to show us the worldwide production minus the US. Okay. Now you can see it. This is the worldwide production. All right. And the question is, how come we didn't? Oh, hey! Hi from Brazil. Hey, how you doing this evening, friend? DB from New York is with us also, I think. As you can see, I'm doing some very basic analysis of CO2 emissions data using the Google Sheets. I'm particularly comparing this to determine how much the U.S. is contributing to CO2 emissions worldwide. Okay. How come? Nothing really tricky. The last time when I just did this, for whatever reason, it didn't show the headers. Let's try this again. Yeah, see what I'm saying? I recently started studying data science and came across you live. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. So, at what point are your data science studies on you in right now? Yeah, I don't know why. Um, this isn't working. For whatever reason, the legend isn't working. So what we're going to do is, let's do this. What are the emissions that? How about a subtitle? Yeah, for whatever reason, as you saw, the legend wasn't showing up. Uh, wasn't showing up with with the heteros on it, which I don't understand why that is. So anyway, you've got year. This is tons. Okay. So tell me, my friend in Brazil, are you doing any programming yet? So again, this this is the worldwide total, including the U.S. This is the worldwide total without the U.S. So you can see that this area here is all that's being contributed to by the U.S. All right. What type of fill color should be used here? No, no, let's just go with the blue. Here's our raw data. It comes from a site called Our World in Data. You can find this CO2 data by going to github.com and searching for OWID. That'll take you to the Our World in Data GitHub repository, which contains all their data. And you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a link to it says CO2 data, okay? So what I've done is, this is the raw data. I'll just mention again that a country contains country names, it contains continent names, it contains income groups, and it also contains a total for the world. So each row is a country, a year, and you have like 50 or 55 different CO2 measurements here, okay? Population, GDP, all right? And the cookbook gives you a list of all the let's look at CO2 per capita. Okay. So here's all of our. I originally used this function right here to extract the data from over here on the raw data tab. Okay. So let's do another. So let's do a new. Let's insert a new pivot table, new sheet. We want to do rows as year, right? Columns as country. Let's get rid of totals. And now what do we want for values? Let's look at hey, what the heck? That's you might as well add GDP per or maybe not. Let's check our dashboard again. But be sure to click that subscribe button for me this evening, as well as the like icon, the like button, and the bell icon to be notified whenever I go live. I will mention probably this weekend sometime I'll be doing a second series on R programming. I'm doing some analysis using a furniture store data cells, and I'm also using ChatGPT to write all the R code for me, and I'm using RStudio and Quattro to create PowerPoint presentations. Okay, so we got this here. I don't know if the if a difference between the world and the United States GDP makes any sense, because well, this is what's interesting here, of course, is that the GDP production of CO2 is much higher in the United States than it is worldwide. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? So here we have this. So GDP means a contribution per individual, right? What is this? So it's per capita. So would this mean the number of tons produced per person then? Is that what that is? CAP. Is that right? Right, per capita means per individual. It's actually, of course, a Latin term, I believe, but you get the picture. Dashboards aren't one of my great strengths, okay, so I'm mainly just throwing up a few I can't figure out why this looks like this and these got all the extra dates here. Let's just take a look here. I mean, we could, right? No, we're actually doing this one backwards, right? Okay, we're actually kind of doing this one backwards. Because the U.S., so I don't really know if we can even compare per capita between the country and the U.S. Let's see what happens. So this is the U.S., right? And this is without the world number. So I don't know what this. I don't know if this actually makes any sense or not. Let's just see what this looks like. Not exactly what we're looking for, is it? Well, first of all, it's not a percent. Why is it? Why is it even putting it as a percent? Okay. So once again, how come we're not seeing? So the blue is the U.S. Okay. And the red is the world. I'm not sure I'm going to include that on the dashboard because I'm not sure if it makes any sense. So I'll leave it right there. And again, I'm not sure. For instance, you know, how come this header isn't showing up? Okay. But nonetheless, with that, my dear friends, I'm going to bring this session to a close. Thanks so much, DB, and also my friend from Brazil. Good luck with your study. Be sure to click that bell icon to be notified whenever I go live. Be sure to check back this weekend, probably Sunday evening. I'll be doing another live stream, but it'll be, this time has to do with a Furniture Mart data set. I'm going to use ChatGPT and R to write all the R code. I'm going to use R and Quattro to create a PowerPoint presentation, basic PowerPoint presentation using ChatGPT, R, and Quattro. Okay, so anyway, thanks so much for your time, folks. We will catch you hopefully Sunday evening, if not sooner. Okay.